ever imagine yourself relaxing at the end of a hard day by playing some easy country blues on your guitar? Something about it is so relaxing and therapeutic, but you might be thinking this could be too hard for you to learn. But if you know how to play a couple open position chords, I can show you how to put something like this together, so you can add this healthy habit to your lifestyle. Let's jump right in. In order to do this, you're just going to need to know two of these basic principles. And the first one is alternating lead lines and some rhythm, which just means playing single notes and then going back to playing a chord, similar to a call and response that you might see in blues. For the first lead line, we're going to play it over an E major chord, which just means these are notes and patterns that are going to sound great anytime an E chord comes up in any genre, but it sounds especially good over this country blues style thing. This is what we're going to play. You've heard that before, going up and down. But here we're going to phrase it like this. So after you play the third string to first string, now the second shape, this time we're going to use our third finger and pinky finger to play the second fret on both the third string and the first string. Then slide that up again to the fourth fret, same shape. Fourth fret and fourth fret. All together you have this. And that's the first lead line. If you can remember this shape, you can phrase this in a bunch of cool different ways. And just playing around with that already feels pretty good. But back to the first principle. Alternating lead lines with rhythm. So now you need to know, after you play a lead line like that, go back and start playing the chord that this lead line sounds good with. So in this case, an E major chord. So see how I played that? I played the phrase ascending, and then strummed the E chord, and then did the same phrase but in reverse. And then strum the E chord again. Now really get the most out of this, when you strum the E chord, it'd be great if you could alternate the bass like this. This is called separating the parts. The bass strings are going to be your E and A string. So you separate the parts by playing E, then strum the chord, then the A string, then strum the chord. E string, strum the chord, A string, strum the chord. Try putting those two things together like this. That brings us into our next principle, called song structure. Now, song structure will describe a lot of different things, chord progressions, and how those chord progressions change over time, like a part A of a song, part B of a song. In this example, we're using a 8-bar chord progression, playing an E major chord for 4 bars, and then playing a B7 chord for 2 bars, returning back to the E chord for the remaining 2 bars. That gives us one type of an 8-bar blues progression. And what we're doing is we're alternating a lead line and then going back to the strumming. That's the song structure part in these basic principles. What lead line do you play when you're going to the B7 chord? What we do here is we're using a concept called voice leading. So we're taking that shape that we ended with on the E chord, 4th fret on the 1st and 3rd strings, and we're gonna use voice leading to just go down to a B7 chord that looks like this. Now, if you notice on the B7 chord, it has the 2nd fret on the 1st and 3rd string. So see how we took that 4th fret and then just walked it down to the 2nd fret, because these notes are part of the B7 chord. You don't have to think about scales or anything to do this. A good way to think about it is phrases or shapes that sound good over any chord. And then the next part is connecting those shapes to the next chord. So if you just look at the next chord, connecting that shape with the B7 shape is a really logical way to get from the 4th fret to the 2nd fret of this chord. It sounds great. It's something that you've heard in a bunch of different songs. Our first principle, alternating lead and rhythm, you'll have something that sounds like this. Now we're on B7. Remember to alternate that bass. Now play a phrase that leads back to E. So all we did there is we went playing through those same shapes that we'd been playing through on the first riff. If you put all those things together, you're gonna have this nice alternating lead and rhythm country blues progression. I know that's gonna be a lot to remember. I'm gonna do a playthrough with the tabs on the screen. Now remember, if you're an FJA member, you can download and print out these tabs so you can learn much faster and keep them in your notes for future reference. Now, if you're a little bit advanced, you can play it in this fingerstyle way that I'm playing, where you can add alternating bass and all this other cool and fun stuff. But if you're a beginner though, it could be a good idea just to try to play just the lead notes and then just strum the chord. Don't worry about alternating the bass and all that stuff. Something like this. 2, 3, 4. Rest, rest. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 2. And that'll get you a way to kind of get used to playing single notes and then going straight into the chords. I have a metronome clicking here at 70 beats per minute. See if you can follow along with the tabs. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. Rest, rest. Let's repeat. Walk down to B.